One of the most notable features of the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer so far is the mummified corpse under Hyrule Castle. Clearly, this corpse plays an important role in the story of the game, given the starring role in the first trailer. Well, today I'm going to have a look at the candidates for who that corpse might be, plus verify it against the Zelda timeline placement, so we have a clearer understanding of the story going into Breath of the Wild 2. Well, if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Legend of Zelda content, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. Well, before we get stuck into the main topic today, let me know in the comments who you think that corpse is. Plus, how did they get there, and what role do you think they're going to have in the story in Breath of the Wild 2? Well, the primary candidate for that corpse has to be Ganondorf. You know, he wasn't in the first game, he hasn't been in a few games, and the main evil in Breath of the Wild was Calamity Ganon, although given this corpse is below Hyrule Castle, that could explain a few things. You know, the E3 2019 trailer gives us our best look at the corpse under Hyrule Castle, and there are similarities between that corpse and our long-time nemesis Ganondorf. So we've got the red hair, the jewel in the middle of his head, and the Gerudo symbol hanging from the corpse after the reanimation. In a flash of bright light, we see a hand reaching out to what could be a reanimated Ganondorf, with a bulkier build and his hair wild. You know, Link's hand is glowing with green energy, plus a strange arm is holding that corpse in place, covered in bracelets. Well, in the E3 2021 trailer, we see that corpse reanimated, this time standing, screaming. Link's arm is gripped by malice. A bit later on in the trailer, Link's arm appears to be infused with the same green magic, and the bracelets that we saw on the mysterious green arm holding the corpse in place. So I've talked about the role of Ganondorf in another video, when we looked at the best theories and speculation about Breath of the Wild 2. You know, we have a tapestry in the original Breath of the Wild which depicts a hero from 10,000 years ago, and the character design has an ambiguous look. You could argue that this character could be Link, or perhaps it was a heroic version of Ganondorf rather than Link. You know, rather than be evil, maybe Ganondorf was the hero 10,000 years ago, and somehow the demise of this Ganondorf, plus being imprisoned under Hyrule Castle, led to the birth of Calamity Ganon. Well, in the first Breath of the Wild 2 trailer from 2019, we see Malice rushing in moments after Ganondorf's corpse is reanimated. And it could be suggesting that Malice is related to the corrupted side of Ganondorf, and perhaps he wasn't evil all along, and it's related to that malice. You know, in the latest trailer, we get a good look at Link's arm, and it appears to have the same bracelets on his right arm as that strange green arm holding the supposed Ganondorf corpse in place under Hyrule Castle. Well, we do have evidence in the trailers that Link can manipulate time, as we see him rewinding time through a mechanic related to his arm. We've also seen Link travel through time in a previous game, like the Ocarina of Time. So given we see two variants of Link in the trailers, you know, we could be going back in time to that scene from 10,000 years ago, and we could indeed meet the hero from that era. You know, will it be Link, or will it be a hero version of Ganondorf? Well, another option for that corpse could be Astor from the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. He's known as the Prophet of Doom, and was born and raised in an unknown village in Hyrule. Now, Astor was a sorcerer and a follower of Calamity Ganon who worked with the Yiga clan to destroy Hyrule. Now, Astor also has a similar jewel as part of his headdress, which could have been mistaken for the Gerudo jewellery. So spoiler warning here for Age of Calamity, but at the end of Age of Calamity, Astor was killed by Harbinger Ganon, who then transforms into Calamity Ganon, and here Calamity Ganon is a large humanoid with red hair and glowing eyes, similar to the glowing eyes that we see in the first Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. This villain in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is then made up of both Astor and Harbinger Ganon, and it could be that this is the corpse rather than Ganondorf himself. Well, finally, I want to look at another candidate for the corpse under Hyrule Castle, and that is Demise. You know, he's only been in one game, and that was Skyward Sword. That was also the first game in the timeline where canonically our story began. So looking at an image of Demise and the corpse flash, you know, there's certainly similarities of the build and the hair. You know, Demise and Ganon are linked, given that Ganon is the resurrected heir to Demise, seeking vengeance on Link and Zelda for the defeat of the original Demon King, Demise. Well, there is lots of evidence in the trailer suggesting a connection between Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild 2, and the reappearance of Demise could be another. Another clue to Demise returning could be the link between Demise and Malice. So in Skyward Sword, Demise is described as inviting the first monsters into the human world, and Fi describes Demise as the source of all monsters. So Malice creates monsters in Hyrule Castle and in the Divine Beasts, plus it's related to the Blood Moon, responsible for resurrecting the monsters all across Hyrule. Well, Demise was ultimately destroyed in Skyward Sword when Skyloft crushed him, falling to Earth, and it could be that Demise's body has been there all along, drilled into the ground, with Hyrule Castle built on the location of Demise's death. Well, out of the three candidates, Ganondorf, Astor and Demise, I think the most likely candidate is Ganondorf, although personally I would like to see both Demise and Ganondorf come back into the story in Breath of the Wild 2. Well, one piece of information that would really help in terms of knowing who the corpse is the timeline placement of Breath of the Wild. The placement of Breath of the Wild on the Zelda timeline hasn't yet been revealed, with IG Aonuma keeping his cards very, very close to his chest. And the Zelda timeline was originally published in Hyrule Historia, and that is a fantastic book for all Zelda fans. Well, more recently, IG Aonuma stoked the discussion by saying the following in the recent book, Creating a Champion. So video games, not just Zelda, can go much, much further. So we got a lot of responses from adult players who said they felt the same way playing this game as they did when they used to be hooked on video games when they were younger. We made this game with the intention of returning to our roots, so the response from players about feeling the same as they had done when they were young is promising. In the books, like the recently released The Legend of Zelda Encyclopedia, we revealed where each Zelda game fell on a timeline and how their stories related, but we didn't do that for Breath of the Wild. There is a reason for that. With this game we saw just how many players were playing in their own way and had those reactions that I just mentioned. We realised that people were enjoying imagining the story that emerged from the fragmented imagery that we were providing, so if we defined a restricted timeline, then there would be a definitive story, and it would eliminate the room for imagination, which wouldn't be as fun. We want players to be able to continue having fun imagining this world even after they are finished with the game, so this time we decided that we would avoid making clarifications, and I hope that everyone can find their own answer in their own way. Well, that is a classic politician's answer there from IG Aonuma, but hopefully in the future, after we get the Breath of the Wild sequel, that will be placed on the official timeline. Well, let me know in the comments who you think that corpse is in Breath of the Wild 2, and share some of your theories going into the sequel. Well, that is it for this look at who the corpse is in Breath of the Wild 2 trailers, and as always, thank you so much for watching or listening. For more Legend of Zelda content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to Triforce Times. Or you can follow me on Twitter at Triforce Times. Well, if you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again. I'll see you soon.